Hello, this is Angela Anderson. Thanks for joining me for this acrylic painting tutorial. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to paint this beautiful sunset grasses, I'm calling it. I think it's going to be really, really easy, very fast painting, and I'll be showing you step by step how to do it from start to finish. I've got my husband, Mark, with me.
Hey there, everybody.
He's been in chat for our live show, so if you have questions while I'm painting, you can ask those, and I'll try to answer them. Let's get started. Alrighty, so I'm going to be using a 9 by 12 inch canvas, but you could really use this on any size canvas. You could adjust the size, you could do square, whatever really size that you wanted to. This will be really easy to adapt. And you can also change the background color. So if you have a color in your house that you wanted to match up, this one would be really easy to change up. We're using a very basic palette for it, and so I think it would be easy to kind of change those colors really quickly. I've got a Belgian Linen Pro Series archival canvas board that I'm using. This is a 9 by 12 inch, like I said, from Fredrix. So thank you to them for providing our canvas today. And then I've got a few brushes from Princeton. So these are, just a very few select brushes. It's not gonna take much. We're gonna use a number 2 Redline, so kind of a large flat for the background work, just to make it go faster. But you could use a smaller one if you don't have the large 2-inch brush. And I've got a number 10 Bright. This is the 6100 series from Princeton. And then these are the 2 angle shaders that we'll be using for some of the grass work. So 1/4 inch, 3/8 inch angle shader from their VelvetTouch line, and also a 3/8 inch Willow's blender from their VelvetTouch line. So, but I think you could probably do all the grasses with a flat brush too. So if you don't have an angle one, you could probably use a flat brush instead. So just use whatever you've got that's similar, similar enough. It doesn't have to be exactly the same as what I'm using. But thank you to Princeton for their brush sponsors for providing those brushes. And I've got a link down in the description of this video for the brushes and the materials that we're using today. So you can check that out later. All right, let's go over our palette really quick. Got Quinacridone Magenta, Cadmium Yellow Light, Cadmium Yellow Medium, Ultramarine Blue, Dioxazine Purple, Burnt Sienna, and Burnt Umber, Titanium White, and Unbleached Titanium. And then this is glazing liquid, just to kind of help the paints go on a little bit smoother in the background. And I'm going to use a spray bottle just to spritz my canvas just once. And then I'm going to grab that large paddle and get a little bit of water here. So welcome to our channel. If you are new to us, we are so glad that you're joining us today, and we hope that you'll subscribe and come back and join us. We do this twice a week. We do have a little minor schedule change next Tuesday. Normally we have our videos on Tuesday nights, but this week Mark's got some work thing. I don't know. He's got a job,
I still have another job.
I know. It's an inconvenience, but pays the bills, so.
Yes, my boss's boss is in town, so we're going out for business dinner. So
I'm just glad I don't have to go.
It will be a long day.
I bet.
I'll be at work at 5:30 in the morning, and dinner doesn't start until 7.
Holy moly.
So
I just realized I started with the wrong color here, so I'm trying to clean this discreetly while you're talking about that. Just never mind me. I'm just in the background here.
That's awesome.
Quietly, trying to clean this brush off, realizing that I wasn't going to start with the pink at all. I was going to start with the yellow. Okay, let's see. I think I got all that pink out of there. We'll find out. All right, so I'm going to grab that white. I don't know why I grabbed the pink. I was just so ready for the pink. So I'm going to put a swatch of white kind of right in this area here. Just kind of lay it on there. And then I'm going to grab my Cadmium Yellow Light here, a little bit of the Cadmium Yellow Medium. And if you don't have the Cadmium Yellow Light, you can just use Cadmium Yellow Medium. It's fine. I just grabbed it. I'm going to grab the Unbleached Titanium, just soften it up a little bit. And I'm just going to go back and forth here. There we go. Just want a soft yellow. Mixing in some more white here. And I'm working fairly thickly with this one. Okay, so get that on there. Don't worry about it too much. We can always go back over this if we need to. I'm going to mix up the Quinacridone Magenta and my Cadmium Yellow Medium. Add some white. I'm going to need a lot more white. I can tell that already. already run out of white. This brush soaks up a lot of paint. So, but I do want to do this quickly, so I don't want to let too much time elapse before I get this paint on there. Here we go. I just grabbed a little bit more white, so I'm going to mix that in. And this is where, like, if you wanted to, you could do this with blues. Just use a color, 2 colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. So the red and the pink, or the red and the yellow are kind of, you know, they've got orange in the middle, obviously, but they mix really well together. So pick 2 colors that are going to mix really nicely for this, and then just use those 2 colors. So with your white. So that is really pretty much all we're going to do back there. We're not going to go into a whole huge amount of detail on our background. I'm going to wipe my brush off again. Get a little bit more of my white. Pick up a little bit more of my yellow. And just go back over this up in here. If you keep doing this while it's wet, you can keep it kind of wet a little bit longer. But once it starts to dry, you're going to want to stop messing with it. So if it starts to feel sticky or it's not pushing around with your brush, just let it dry completely and then come back and do it again over the top. You can always add more layers. The more the better, I think. And acrylics are pretty nice because you can really layer them really well, pretty easily. They, when you add other colors on top, depending on the kind of color you use, you should be able to cover over your underlayers if you want to do that. Or blend. I'm getting a little bit more of the pink. Now I'm going to do the pink with some white. And I'm run out of white again. It's just so about the bottom, not even quarter, so a little bit below the bottom quarter. So if this is the halfway mark on our canvas, and here's our quarter right in here, we're coming just a little bit lower than that. I'm going to grab a little bit of purple, a little bit of my quinacridone, and a little bit of my burnt sienna.
For those who have a little more difficult time in doing the blending, would it be recommended to add
Actually, use this bigger, smaller brush. This is my number 10. I'm going to switch to that brush. What?
Would
those 3 colors. What?
For those who take a little bit longer in blending, would it be recommended to use a glazing medium or something like that to help extend the drying time?
Yes, you could. You could.
And if you paint it underwater, you'll really extend the drying time. That's a pro tip from the video
Okay.
the video guy. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, so I'm putting this color down here, and I'm going in. That color is still wet above it, so it's blending with it nicely. And then I'm going to, and I actually just added a little bit of that orange from the sky. It's a really easy way of blending those colors in, kind of softening up this mountain layer that's back here. I'm going to go a little bit darker. Back in here, I'm just going to kind of do the long, kind of wavy line, and I'm using this number 10, and it's kind of mixing with the color a little bit, so it's going to give us a kind of a soft, blendy edge. That's what we want. We want these colors to look all kind of soft and blended together. I'm just going to kind of go back over. And if your color above is still drying, you can wait and let it dry completely. If it's like kind of, you know, halfway dry and it's starting to get sticky back here, but I did just add that pink layer there so that I could do this while it was still somewhat wet. So I put that pink layer on and then immediately go over it, you know, with our I'm going to kind of muss this up so it's not so perfectly straight. There we go. Okay. That looks good. And that's probably a little bit too bright, so I may go back over that, but we'll see. I might grab some of my background orange there. Blend over that just a little bit. Because I want it to be light enough that when we do our dark grasses over the top, it's not going to be covering up a lot of that color. Grab some unbleached titanium here. There we go, let's try that. Sorry, you probably shouldn't have to do this. I'm just trying to get the color right. So adding a little bit more of the quinacridone, or the unbleached titanium here. Just softening up that color just a little bit. There we go. Okay. Yeah, that's good. All right, so now I'm going to grab my blue and my burnt umber, mostly blue. Make it gray, and I left all these colors in my brush, so they're all going to kind of merge together a little bit. Great. Really pretty gray. Adding that unbleached titanium to lighten it up a little bit. I'm just going to go down here and go into that wet edge of that purple mountain and just blend that out. Oh, I'm off camera there, sorry. I know. I just noticed that. Let me clean out my brush so I don't have that dark purple in there. Okay, grabbing that color. There we go. Getting some of that blue. Going back and forth to blend in that blue right up under our mountain. We're not even really worried about having a shoreline. Those are just blending together. Very soft. And then grabbing that unbleached titanium and adding it down at the bottom. Blending up into color. There we go. All right, I'm happy with that. It looks pretty good. So that's pretty much all we're going to do with our background. It's pretty fast. I kind of wish I'd brought this down a little bit. Let me see if I can do that without messing it up. I probably will. No, I guess I'll leave it.
If you need to wait to let it dry, you can show the magnets we received.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, let me do this first part. Because I need to do this while it's still wet too. So I'm going to grab some of this mountain color. Add a little bit of the orange to it. And I've got the 3/8" angle brush. And I'm going to start out here, down here, and I'm going to use the edge of it and just do a bunch of grasses back here that are thin. I can get some of the yellow. We're just trying to do kind of lighter grasses that are farther away. If I use kind of a light touch, it'll sort of break up. And see how I'm kind of dragging it, dry brushing it a little bit. There we go. So just trying to get these soft, light purple grasses going out. And if I do this while that background's still wet, it'll kind of pick up those colors too, and sort of soft be softer. And then I'm going to tap a little bit. If you whisper, it goes on softer.
I did not know that was a technique.
Yeah, if you whisper. Okay. Here we go.
Wow, I've been doing it wrong. I've been listening to
that's why I whisper.
To heavy metal music while doing it. It just never comes out right.
There we go. So I'm just tapping along the edge of that. Just a few of these. They don't all have the, seed heads on them. So, but just a few of them. Really soft. It's already kind of come together, actually. I told you this would be a fast one. This is not a particular. I think it's a pretty easy difficulty painting. They're all kind of merging in here. Make sure that you do every now and then do one that's kind of going straight up or in a different direction so they overlap a little bit. Okay, so this one already kind of was thicker without me even having to do anything. The mockingbird's back. Providing us music. No charge. Royalty free. No copyright issues. Pretty awesome. Alright, so I'm grabbing some brown here. I'm going to add a little bit of purple. Do some shorter grasses here. And if you do them fairly quickly, it's getting sticky. That's why that's not going on very good. I need to probably let that dry. Okay, let me just stop there because I don't want it to lift what's already going on. All right, so why don't you take that, honey, and dry that for me if you don't mind? Or not?
I'm busy. I'm busy.
All right.
Talking here. Jeez.
Hi. Thanks. All right, so if you are new to the channel, you probably don't know about this, but we've been doing this thing called magnets for Mark. Mark's got this, he used to have like a box fort set up over here, and every time I'd look over it was just like this wall of boxes. And so a few months ago, I bought him some like actual soundboard, like metal, it's like a metal cubicle that's got the soundproofing inside of it, so he can sit behind that. And since it's metal, we've been having people send us magnets. So we got a magnet from all over the world, and this week we got one from Shelby Trumfor, how Buckeye Candy, and she said that it was candy and magnets, so two of Mark's favorite things, or chocolate and magnet and a magnet. So it's got a recipe on there and everything. It looks really good. They look yummy. So definitely have to try that out. And it looks like I don't think you have to actually cook them either. Yeah, you just refrigerate them. So that's even better. And then we got a card from Stephanie Moore, and a sweet card. And she sent us a little coin purse from Israel and a Jerusalem magnet. So she's from Jerusalem, and she was visiting her family in the U.S., and she sent this to us when she came on over. So sweet. That was really thoughtful. So really exciting to have new magnets to add to our board over there. And it's almost completely covered now. So thank you guys too. And if you have not received your thank you magnets, that's just because I've been lazy and enjoying time with my grandbaby this month, but I am still going to be sending out thank you magnets. They look like this. They have the little stick man in the hammock, so it's our kind of thank you return gift for those who've been sending us magnets. And if you want to send us one, you can totally do that, and we'll send you one of those magnets in return. And our addresses down in the video description. We've got all our links to our social media and stuff down there too. So all kinds of fun stuff for you to, ways to contact us. And if you paint this, we'd love to see it also. Thank you, hon. Okay, now you can get back to chatting.
Time. Did you mention your emails you received this week?
Oh, no, I didn't. I got the sweetest emails from Anita and Karen. Anita's was, she said now she gets to do something fun instead of watch Gunsmoke with her husband. Loved it. And Karen said she's been selling the paintings that she's been doing for my tutorials to help pay for stuff around the house. So she's retired too, so that's been really great. That's awesome. That makes my day. It really does. That's really, exactly why we do this. Just so fun. So thank you to them.
Yeah, we're better than Gunsmoke.
We're better. Hey, wow, we should put that on our website.
Yeah, tagline.
That is tagline, better than Gunsmoke. I like it. I think her husband would probably disagree, but at least Anita thinks so.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
That's right. So shout out to them. And our son Jordan came home today, so we are really looking forward. We're going to have a happy weekend.
Yeah, Nathan will be in tonight.
All of our boys going to be home. My mom's down visiting. She came down early. My dad's coming tomorrow, so we're going to have a house full.
He had to work, so he had to stay behind a couple days.
Yeah. But Mom couldn't resist the call of the baby. She had to come a few days early. So it's been fun. She's been in heaven. It's been awesome. All right, so I mixed up a really dark purpley brown here. The mostly Dioxazine Purple, a little bit of burnt umber here, and I'm switched to my 1/4 inch angle brush, and I'm just going to start doing these darker ones. These can be kind of scary, but you get your kind of arm in this sort of swing and do them quickly. And really, these ones, since it's grasses, you can kind of, I don't know, they don't have to be perfect. So if one gets bent over, well, then it was a bent grass, it happens. So just kind of try not to stress out too much. I find that if I do it more quickly and just kind of not try to be super slow and deliberate about it, not try to now I've been painting for 30-something years, so I've got a steadier hand than some, but if you're new to this and you're finding that it's difficult, just do it a little bit more quickly maybe and try that and see if it helps you get better results, because you may just be trying to, take it too slow, and that may be why it's a little shaky, but we're just going to keep on doing this. Really long grasses. Some of them are going to come way out here, so I'm going to do one that's really long out there. I'm adding a little bit of the glazing medium to it just to give me a little bit more viscosity to my paint. And if you want to use a liner brush for this, if you feel more comfortable with that, I would just say use whatever brush you are comfortable using. So if you have a brush that's your favorite for doing lines, grab that one by all means. So we're just going to be doing all kinds of grasses here. Some of them are low, so I'm going to do some kind of low like this. And again, whisper when you do it. Makes it faster, better. I don't know why I do that every time.
The more delicate ones, you have to be whispered in.
You have to whisper them in, or they get a little scared. Mm-hmm. They're shy.
Hence, she's a paint whisperer. You guys thought I was joking all this time, but it's a real thing.
It really is. I do whisper when I paint. I don't know why. Somebody said, I got the greatest comment too on YouTube on our, I can't remember what video it was, but they said, I fell asleep to watching this. you're like the Bob Ross of acrylic painting. It was a good thing or something. Like, that wasn't a bad thing or something. Like, I was like, because I was like, oh, that was rude. And then she was like, no, it was a good thing, like, and that's not a bad thing. I don't know. It was just cute the way she worded it because I was like, oh.
So if you have friends or family that have a hard time sleeping,
Yes.
Send them the link to Angela's videos.
Guaranteed to put you to sleep.
Guaranteed.
I should put that on our thing too. Better than Gunsmoke. Guaranteed to put you to sleep. The end.
More effective than golf. Than watching golf.
I love it. Yeah. All right. Grabbing some Quinacridone Magenta. I had grabbed a little bit of that purple color that we used for the stems, but I'm going to mostly use the Quinacridone Magenta here. And I'm going to start laying in our glow around our grasses now that we've got them all in. And I think I'm going to use this brush actually, because it's more kind of fuzzy. If you don't have one, you can still use that angle brush. So if you don't have a brush that's a little scruffy, just use any brush. It doesn't have to be this one. Any brush that's got a little fluff to it, that's a little fluffed out. And I'm going to just tap it to make sure those bristles kind of flare out a little bit more. And like I said, it does not have to be this brush. It could be any brush that you've got that will do that for you. And I'm just going to tap, tap, tap. Look how fun that is. It's already going to be kind of fuzzy. We're just going to tap along the edge of our grass. And then as it gets to the end, I'm going to turn it so that it's going in a straight line. Mine has got a thin edge and a flat edge. So tap, 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 tap. Make sure you do all your grasses before you do this part, because this is going to be kind of on top. This is the top layer. So I need to pick one that's down in here. I can't see one. There we go. Maybe I need it. There we go. Right here. There. And some of them are a little bit darker, so we can grab a little bit of the Quinacridone Magenta and go back over that glow. So it looks like the glow is coming from the outside and then the dark center. Like that. That's what we're going to be doing. So this one I'm going to do a little bit more. And then I'm going to make sure that I kind of tap down the center too, so that it's not just like on the edges, fluffy on the edges. All right. Let me go a little bit brighter, maybe a little bit light. So let's pick one of these grasses down here. I'm just trying to see the ones that are kind of fuzzy ones that had the glow to them. Those are the ones I'm trying to get in here. And I probably need a couple more stems. So I'm going to put in a couple of shorter stems right in here so I can do my short grasses. And this should be a jumble of, once you do it, and if you do it right, what you should end up with is just like a big jumble of grasses. And let's go ahead and put in some of these brown grasses too that are back here too. I forgot to put those in. Those were supposed to go in first, sorry. But we'll still put them in. These grasses here in the middle, these front ones, kind of more brown-ish. So start with those and then do your purpley ones back here. And I really should have some of these brown ones back in here. Okay, here we go. So then I'm going to grab a little bit more of my Quinacridone Magenta and some of these with brighter pinks. And I have a 1/4 inch one of these. I think I'm going to have to get that one because this one's a little bit big. Get my 1/4 inch there. little bit smaller. Just fit in these little tight areas better. Okay. Tap, tap, tap. And make sure you leave lots of kind of airy fluff around the sides, so don't fill them in too solid. And then we go grab some of that purple that was our stem color and go back over the middle area here and just tap in kind of along that middle stem. Just add a little bit of dark in the middle. That's what'll make it look like it's got that halo of glow happening. See that? Do you see it, hon?
I'm seeing it.
You're seeing it? Okay, good.
I'm seeing the glow.
Good. Feel the glow. Grab some of that Quinacridone Magenta. Tap, tap, tap. Throw some of these back here. I'm just going to start down here and tap in little bits back and forth. Some of them are bigger than others, so they don't all have to be the same size. But it's helpful if they curve just a little bit so they're not like completely straight.
Yeah, that's actually the key, and it sounds easy, but I know it's hard to not make them look all the same.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because that's what we notice or recognize the most in nature is
Right.
how random it is.
Exactly.
Well, they may be the same grass, and they're not bent the same way and shaped the same way.
Right.
So when we do it very uniformed, our mind goes, hey, that ain't right.
Right. Yeah. It just, yeah, your mind's like, something's wrong there. And you may not even realize that you're doing it. I did it the other night on our cherry tree. I could not leave a space to get. I even painted the space back in and then repainted over it again. It's just like, okay, I guess there's no space in that tree. So that's that. So even I do it. Doesn't matter. Mark was teasing me ruthlessly about it too. He thought that was hilarious. They got a great comment about it too. Somebody was like, ha ha. Angela's like, oh shoot, as she paints over it again.
Yeah. It's like, what's that hole doing there?
Oh, I can't believe I did that twice. Well, I get to paint. It's really, you'll find if you've ever tried to paint and talk at the same time, it's just not very easy to do. And
No.
so I tend to do that at times when I'm thinking of other things besides what I'm painting, and I just get in this kind of zone, and then I'll end up doing something weird like that, and just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, painting and talking is definitely not easy. That one bonus video that I did, the row houses, and holy moly.
Yeah. Well, it's using different parts of your brain, your right brain and your left brain. You know, your left brain's kind of controlling the words and talking. And I find, like, Mark teases me that I'm in my art brain because, you know, if I have trouble with phrasing, like with words, I'll come up with these really strange words. My arms, what was it called? Arms? I can't remember.
Your armholes?
Armholes, yeah, instead of for sleeves.
Instead of sleeves?
Yeah. I mean, and I just, like, that's how my brain works when I'm, you know, painting. It's like a totally different part of the brain. It just cannot come up with words for things. It's so funny. And I'm just like, I know what the sleeve is. Like, it can be so frustrating too, because I'm just like, what is that word?
Yeah.
And I don't even realize I'm doing it. I just, you know, just talking and, you know, yeah, it's just funny. So painting is awesome. I just love it. It's a whole nother world, and it definitely does. It's very therapeutic. There's a reason why they call it art therapy, because, you know, it's a real thing. It definitely takes you out of whatever it is that's stressing you in your life, and can bring you at least a few minutes of peace while you're doing it. You know, it's great. So we're really happy to get to do this and hopefully provide a little fun and comedy relief, a little art therapy for your day. I'm going in with a little bit brighter color now that I've got that white in there that's drying. The lighter color kind of first kind of just helps this next layer be more visible. So put down the lighter, kind of whiter pinks first, let it dry, and then you can go back over it with your brighter color, and it'll make those brighter colors a little bit more vivid. They'll pop off the painting a little bit more for you. Let's see, where did I leave my, there it is, right there. I knew I did one in here.
You have 3 brushes holding their breath.
What?
You have 3 brushes holding their breath.
Oh, okay. Thank you. They were drowning. Save me. Thank you, YouTube peoples, for saving us.
See, she just assumes it was you guys when you had absolutely nothing to do with it. It was
really?
It was all me.
Oh, good. Thank you, honey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, whatever. I don't want anybody out there trying to take claim for that.
That was all you? Nice.
Yeah, that was all me.
Good job.
Now, this one time, I mean, every other time I completely didn't notice.
That is surprising. Most of the time, you're not even listening to what I'm saying, so to...
What?
Did you say something? Yeah. I like these easier ones because then I can talk to you. I'm not thinking so much about what I'm doing. I can enjoy it a little bit more. Chat and
it's easier on the audio, too.
Is it? Oh, because I don't whisper as much?
Yeah, because you're not whispering as much.
Yeah, I can imagine. You don't have to pay as much attention to what my audio levels are doing. The sound guy has a break.
The adjustments are minor.
Nice. Yeah, I'm glad you have you doing that. I need it for sure.
And since we figured out that your computer keeps resetting the output level.
It's better.
Yeah.
We figured it out. Well, yeah, for years I kept having people go, I can't hear you. And I'm like, well, we've got it sounding good on our end. But we found out that it was the computer audio output something kept lowering our volume on us without us knowing it. So anyhow, we check it before the show every time. It was like at 56%. It had turned down the whatever to 56%. And we're like, seriously? Like, I'm not changing it. Mark's not changing it. Nobody's touching it. And yet it's doing this every time. It's not every week. We still don't know what. If you're an audio expert, please write me and let me know what we're doing that's causing that.
If there's a setting in Windows where we
if
can
there's
lock
something
it.
that we can keep it from doing that we can just permanently set it to not change the audio output, that would be awesome. So just doing like different random pinks, purples, trying to match it to the color of the stem somewhat, but it doesn't have to be exactly the same. And if you do one that's a little bit darker, and you can always go back in and add a stem to it, or darken the stem to it, whatever you need to do. So these are just all kind of random purples and pinks, just different levels of darkness and everything in that fun. It's super easy. I hope you try this one. It's actually really fun. I think the hardest part was maybe the grasses, but I think that if you just do them fast, that it's probably, I was kind of slowing them down. But if you get a paint that's sort of thin, because that'll be easier to use. So get a paint like maybe a craft paint. If you are using heavy body acrylics, you might just use craft paints maybe for just the grass part. If you have trouble doing lines, or add a medium like the glazing medium or something like I did, that will help it go on a little bit smoother. And that's pretty much it. Once you get those grasses down, you can do all of this. It's really easy. All these little dabs, just kind of cone-shaped grasses. It's It's not hard at all. Just tapping along those stems. And I'm going a little bit thicker, maybe in the middle, and then tapering it back down toward the end where it's, and just making sure that I'm keeping those edges kind of fuzzy. I'm going to add a little bit of yellow with my little bit of yellow with my quinacridone and white. A good tip for using, like when you're mixing reds with white, if you want to keep them from turning pink, if you want them like just a bright red without being pink, super pink, you can add a little touch of yellow to it and it'll, so here's my bright pink, but then if I add a little bit of yellow to it, it'll tone it down and make it more of a reddish color. All right, so I'm going to go back in here and just tap back in some of that gold glow. I kind of painted over all of it. And really, it would probably be cool to use, you could even use a fluorescent, if you have a fluorescent pink, that'd be really pretty in here. In this like glowing area, you know, where they're, okay, I think that that's pretty good. Just trying to see if I've kind of missed any major ones that I want to add in. I feel like there probably should be one sort of in here somewhere. There's all kinds of ones back in here, so it's just going to add. Some that's kind of crossing over. Okay, and then if you've got them crisscrossing, then just make one of them a little bit darker than the other one. So like this one's crisscrossing. So I'm just going to darken it up. You can see it a little bit better. And then this one in front. Again, add a little bit of this lighter color too. And I'm going through here and just kind of adding highlights along the top edge or back side, kind of outer edges of some of them. Add a big one right here. It goes across both of those. And if I decide I want one somewhere and I don't have a stem to it, I can still put it in and then just add my stem later. Yeah. That stem was watery. Let's try that again. There we go. And then I can also use this brush too to, this is what I was saying in the beginning, you can use this brush to give a little bit more specific detail. Once we get the main parts on there, we might want to go through here and just kind of add a little bit more detail to a few of these. So, let's see. One. I'm just going to kind of go along the center here, darken it up a little bit. And using this smaller brush will give you a little bit more control. And we can go back through with maybe some magenta and purple. Mostly magenta, a tiny bit of white. I'm just going to add a few little highlights to a few of these. It's not bright enough. Here we go. And just tapping very lightly. If you use the tip of your brush, you can get kind of little dabs. Either side, and then the middle I want darker, so I'm going to go back in here with the middle, with that quinacridone in the middle, and just darken up. Blend that in a little bit, going back over the dots a little bit. And I want to make sure that wherever I've done this, that my stem is integrated. So I don't want a like this one here. Like this one is a good example right here. So zoom in a little bit, hon. My stem here is kind of disappeared on me. It's a lot lighter than the flowers. So I'm just going to go in here and add that stem in and all the way down. And that way it looks like it's part of it. And then I'm going to go back over and just kind of gently dab that in. Okay. I'm going to do some softer ones back in here. Like maybe closer to that background color. A soft pink here. Okay, I'm trying to, I don't want to overdo it, but I mean, these pretty much, they're such a jumble that you can almost not overdo it. They're pretty, there's so many of them. Let's do one low one right here. Go ahead and zoom out, honey, you're too close to the, well, I showed them what I wanted to show them and already.
You showed them what you wanted to show them?
I show them what I wanted to show them close up, and then
okay.
You left it, and I can't paint anywhere else but this little white spot right here.
It'd be so much easier for me if you did.
I know. Well, sorry. I moved on.
It's always about you.
I know. Well.
Just, you know.
I did have somebody accuse me of that.
Of course.
Once I did. It was like a patron, and she was like, "You never listen to what we want you to paint. You act like it's all about you." And I'm like, "Well, it kind of is my channel, so I sort of. I mean, I do listen. I ask all the time what other people want to paint just because it's not something I want to paint. You can tell me what you want to paint. I love hearing what you want to hear me see me paint, and I take polls all the time, but it's also got to be something I want to paint. And that way it is about me, because if I don't want to paint it, I'm not going to do it. I've done that, been there, done that way too many times. And that is not fun. I spent a lot of years painting stuff I really didn't want to paint just to make a living at it. And fortunately, we don't have to now, so I'm going to paint what I want. So, yes, if I want to be a diva, I will be a diva. Sorry about that.
Me too.
It's just the way it goes.
If I want to be a diva, I will be a diva.
I know. Well, sometimes you just got to be gotta do it. All right. So here I'm going back in with transparent. I've got a lot of glazing liquid on here. I just noticed that there's some way back in the back that I didn't put in. So I want a few more of these really soft ones that are way far away. So using the glazing liquid kind of helps keep them soft and blendy looking. Yeah, I don't like that one. Yeah, the nice thing about acrylics too is if you get one on there and you make a mistake, or if you do like one of your grasses and you make a really horrible mistake or whatever, you can always get it off if you wipe it off immediately. Now just make sure that you don't have the paint wet underneath where you're trying to wipe it off, because if you do, then you wipe the paint off underneath as well. So wait for your underlayers to dry before you do your grasses, and then you should be fine. Should be able to erase any mistakes as you go. My chair's creaking. You hear it? A little bit. Okay, I think we are just about done. If you want to, you can keep working on this area and adding more and more, the brighter. Just be careful, because the more layers you add, the wider your things are going to get. So if you want to keep them small, just at some point you're going to have to stop, because as you add more colors, they're getting bigger and bigger, So just keep that in mind. Using this bright color to kind of add that glow to the outer edge. Some of these darker ones here. Those ones are already done. I hadn't done all these in the middle here. Just doing some of them really dark. They really stand out. This is also, a way you can kind of control the way the eye moves around the canvas. I know that's probably not something that you're caring about too much when you're first starting to paint, but you kind of think about it. So I'm kind of trying to make sure that I have, these dark areas kind of in strategic spots so that it kind of leads the eye around the canvas. That was my phone. Yeah, sorry.
I saw mine light up.
Somebody.
That doesn't sound like
oh,
noise.
it's probably they're probably sending more baby pictures.
Yeah, so it's about to blow up in here.
It's the grandma
Grandpa
text
group.
text group. Yeah, we get Liam photos. Sharing Liam photos. None of us live with Liam, and so we all like live vicariously through the texting. We're all like looking for new texts every day. Fortunately, Courtney's good about sharing them with us, and we've been the ones taking the photos this week, or this month. So it's been nice because we've had him here at the house with us. Our little grandbaby is 4 months old, so first one, he's special, Sorry, we talk about him all the time, but this is how it goes. You really don't need this many layers. I'm just kind of fiddling with it now at this point. I always do this, so sorry.
So before we started the show, Angela's like, this is going to be like 15 minutes.
Well, I couldn't make it that short.
I don't know how, I'm going to make it longer. So we're coming up, pushing on an hour.
Mm-hmm. Well, I am. I'm like putting more detail in it. It needs to go.
Well, please believe me when I say I did not believe you at all. It's like 0%.
You believe me 0%? Okay.
Exactly. Well, I was like, sure, honey. Right.
The day I do a short video, Mark will retire.
I mean, we barely got you in just over 15 minutes for lava soap.
Yeah.
But that's what's awesome about you, is that you take the time to put in the details and take it just from, yeah, it's okay, to it's acceptable, to like, oh, that's pretty good, to wow, that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
So
you're trying to be nice to me now. I'm not listening.
Mm-hmm.
No. Good try.
I just realized we have to sleep in the same bed.
Just backpedal, redeeming myself.
Wait a minute. I want dinner. Check, okay.
Dinner in a warm bed. Okay,
yeah,
I better be nice to her.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to call that quits there. That was fun, wasn't it? Hope you enjoyed it too. And if you painted, please share it with me on my social media. For sure, would love to see it. I have not been as good about commenting, so I've been looking, but we've had so much going on with Liam being in the house. I'll be back to posting on social media more after this week when they go home, because I'll be all sad and depressed and maybe crying intermittently, but throughout the day. No, I'm joking. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not. Yeah. Oh, fun. All right. I'm going to sign it. Super chat. Yay. Y'all are so good to us.
Yeah, we got a super chat in.
Very cool.
So Miss Denise says, hi, Angela. Love the colors in your painting. Love you and Mark loads. But Mark, I'm sorry to say, this Liam is much cuter than you. LOL. Here's a little something, maybe pizza or whatever. Heart hugs.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That's so sweet.
Even if you think Liam's cuter, that's all right.
He is cuter.
What?
No. We'll talk later.
I'm leaving the disco lights on.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching today. Have a great rest of your weekend.
Did you want to?
Memorial weekend. We will not have a video on Tuesday night because Mark's got to work thing, but we will be back next Saturday with our raccoon that we were supposed to be painting today, but we decided to do a shorter video. So we'll be back next weekend with the raccoon. So hope to see you then. Thanks. Bye.